Hey everyone, how we doing? I'm just going to get straight into this. Call of Duty just released a ton of information in regards to the new map, Caldera, changes that are going to change like throughout the game. So just going to jump into it. I am a bit late to this. We're going to watch the trailer, even though most of you have probably already watched it, and then I'm going to go over the patch notes. So we'll pretend we haven't seen this, all right?
Travelers, explorers, adventure seekers. With all travel bans to Caldera lifted,
A bit of water.
you may now book tickets to Caldera on Pacific Horizon Air. Caldera, a hidden paradise.
It's going to be a
All
snipe tower.
landscapes. Visit sites from Caldera's storied past. Survey the land from above by climbing natural rock formations.
Notice a lot of people have noticed that. Climbing rocks.
Dip in a river or stream. Fuel up on the artisanal organic produce harvested locally. Caldera, the Emerald of the Pacific. Free flights starting December 9th. Pacific Horizon Air is not responsible for any death, parachute-related accidents, gas-related deaths or injury, anti-aircraft fire, tennis elbow, food poisoning, or any similar instances. Should Pacific Horizon Air become engaged in aerial combat, an early exit may be required. What are you waiting for? Book your trip today.
So, yeah. If you have early access, you get access to that on December 8th. So, biggest things I take away from all this is the colors. They just seem to be more vibrant, and even in the darker spots, like in here, I know it's a trailer. I know they're gonna saturate it to make it look more colorful, but it just seems more brighter. I honestly think, and it's probably a bit of a given, the rose skin, I don't think that's going to be meta anymore. When I look at this map as a whole, I imagine most of the terrain being this greeny color. You're going to have a lot of rock formations and water. I don't know if it's going to be the ghillie suit, but I think, when you've got your typical Mill Sims character with the darker, rocky color, beigey grey kind of colors, I think they might be the ones to consider. No doubt Call of Duty is onto this, and they will release a skin that's pretty overpowered. But yeah, the colors, the map seems great. We'll jump. Here we go. So this is the whole layout of the map. We got arsenal, docks, runway, ruins, mines, peak, beachhead, village, lagoon, airfield, fields, subpen, power plant, capital, and resort. So straight off the bat, in Verdansk, you obviously had superstore, hangars were like I'd say the sweaty zone, and it kind of migrated to train. That's where I love to land because it had good loot. But they were essentially in the middle. So when you look at this, what's here? We got mines, and the first thing I think of with mines is verticality. So you'll see in them photos, there's a lot of verticality. In Battlefield Firestorm, they had this also. And if you're at the bottom of the mine and someone's up top, you've nearly got no shots. So it's pretty much, like Quarry in Verdansk. So I can't see that being a hot drop. F, peak. So obviously this could be, what do they call it? Array. I think this will be array. You're guaranteed to have people sitting there, I was going to say, with a HDR, with some sort of long-range sniper and utilizing that. I don't think the aggressors will be landing there. K, fields. See, this looks like it's very central, but it's not tight. It's not close quarters combat. It could be. We'll just have to wait and see. But I know a lot of people have been talking about J, the airfield, being a hot drop, and whether, obviously, there's going to be aeroplanes in this. Whether they just spawn, I think a lot of people will be going for them. In like hospital, where else has helicopters? Boneyard, airport, between airport and like the airstrip, everyone goes for a heli, especially in kill races. So I think airfield is definitely going to be a hot drop. I know a lot of people have been talking about B, the docks being a hot drop. which is interesting because you wouldn't really associate with a hot drop being on the edge. But we'll just have to wait and see. N. What's N? Capital. That's... See, every little orange dot there is a POI. So just some things to consider. Apparently, it's pretty much ideally the same size as Verdansk, which is, I think, I have no quarrels with that. I don't think it's too big nor too small. I think it's a good size. You can safely have a good session and land somewhere every game different and not get bored. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Now, a lot of controversy. This is what we really want to talk about. Just bear with me. So, some patch notes they've released, and I think to everyone's surprise, they took some from like Iron Trials, what I believe, and other game modes that have done well. So we'll run through. Welcome to Paradise. It was simpler time then. So they're just talking about it. There's in one snapshot. There's the map there. So that, I believe, is the docks. So, yeah, this, I think this is their version. This will be the new version of Shipment. Like, it's obviously Shipment. So I don't know if that'll be in the map. That'd be pretty cool if it is. Industrial docks. This is the airport runway. I'm assuming that's somewhere up on the peak. The first thing I think of is quarry. Oh, this is peak. So it's not as tower form as I thought. So, like that's a tower, but you don't have as much cover there. I don't think it's going to be like as bad as ATC tower. This, on the other hand, you don't have that direct down line of sight view. There's plenty of options to push up underneath. It's just refreshing to see a new map. So we'll have to just see how it all plays. This looks sweaty. There's a lot of spots to land. I can just see a lot of floor loop being on the top and on the bottom. This kind of reminds me of I forget which building it is on Rebirth, but bigger. But yeah. Okay, the final points, innovation. This is where we want. Okay. Claiming victory. Okay, so we've obviously got anti-cheat, the Gulag, drop back and ready for combat. Gulag now gives you more than a second chance at victory. When Warzone Pacific drops and a player wins the Gulag, drop back and with the weapon or weapons and lethal equipment given them during that deadly duel. So if you didn't play Iron Trials, if you won Iron Trials, whatever you won with the Gulag, you'd come out and you would essentially have that lethal equipment and the weapon, which I'm all for, because people camping loadouts, there's nothing worse when you've only got a pistol to fight back. I many a times landed in with my Gulag weapon and got kills. I think that's, plus I don't see anything bad about it. You just got to be more on your feet if you are the killer and then they've come back. You've just got to be more aware that then they can beam you as soon as they land, which I think is great. So yeah, they cover it here. Savannah Trials. Loadout items and field upgrades. Dead Silence is being nerfed. I don't know how they're going to nerf it. Whether it be the duration. I don't see how you can make Dead Silence half Dead Silence, like you'd half hear footsteps, because then it would just become non-viable. I think it's going to be the duration and maybe how much you find it, but regards, to be honest, I'd prefer to be out of the game. Just like Stopping Power. Stopping Power is just ridiculous. It hasn't spawned as much in the later games, but I think last season when it was really bad, Dead Silence and Stopping Power, people were running around as soon as they land, Dead Silence, Stopping Power, you have no chance. So Stopping Power, it just really eliminates the skill gap. And yeah, I'm all for it being going. I kind of wish Dead Silence was going as well. But, it is what it is. So such as nerf sticks. Oh, so they've also looked closely at various equipment pieces, to stun grenades and heartbeat sensors. So stun grenades, surely it's going to be like the duration, because it feels like at least 10 seconds you're being stunned for. Not getting into the aim assist debacle, but I do think if they could just reduce the duration and, you really have to use two, I think that'd be good. Heartbeat sensors, like, obviously they either work or they don't, so I got a feeling this will be range. I think they go up to about 40, 45 meters, so that'd be good also. They also took another look at dual-wielded melee weapons. The Kali stick and the Sai. Give us all the ghosts. To give justice to all the ghosts who live their second life too short during the haunting. Results. Expect aforementioned equipment and weaponry to be adjusted to be less potent in Warzone, along with gun butting. So that's gun melee, no longer being the primary method of attack on the Caldera. So I'm sure if you've played Verdansk, you've dropped in and you've gone pistol whipped. It was a 2-hit to down, or was it 2-hit to break? And it was just way too overpowered. But now they've made it 3 hits, but it's still too powerful. They nerfed it for Iron Trials, which was good. But yeah, just across the board, another W. Another change involves loadout drop markers. They can only be purchased. This right here. This is huge. So change buy stations after the loadout drop event occurs in a match. So if you weren't familiar, once again, this is the same as Iron Trials. It took me a little bit to figure out. It wouldn't let you buy a loadout until the first loadout drop event occurs. So when I'd assume the free loadout drop would happen, it would say loadout whatever is happening, and then you can buy your loadout. And that's not till I think J God was saying about 9 minutes in. So very, very interesting. I've seen this on Twitter, a lot of negative reviews. I think it's great. Nothing's worse if you find a couple of orange crates, you've got 10 grand with your team, you get a loadout early. The people with floor loot, they're at a severe disadvantage. They're not going to necessarily lose every time, but if you've got running stuns, heartbeats, and you've got probably a meta weapon, it's just unfair. So I think this is great. This puts a lot more emphasis on the floor loot. So with this, I hope there's good floor loot. Yeah, but time will tell. But that's a huge one, because obviously you got people that are camped just for the first loadout, and it makes you really wonder, will Ghost be the primary go-to now? Because obviously with the free loadout, you'll grab Overkill. Second loadout, you'll grab Ghost, and then you've still got your 2 weapons, your Ghost, you're sorted. But now there's a lot more emphasis on that first loadout. So very excited. Pieces will be several lethal and tactical equipment pieces will see not much needed buffs. Most lethal equipment will deal more damage, while the snapshot grenade will see effective radius increase. That is good. The stim will also apply a slight movement boost. Okay. And the decoy grenade will pack rubber bullets that deal just enough damage to pester enemies. That's cool. I'm a fan of that. The decoy grenade, 2 seconds, you know it's a decoy grenade. But if you can also use it as a slight, damage, like a gas grenade, just to pester the enemy, I think that's great. Snapshot grenades, if you're running restock, and snapshot grenades could be meta. I would not count these bad boys out. The stim, movement boost, I don't think it's going to be game breaking unless they implement, similar like Iron Trials again, where the stim was actually half viable. Gas masks and explosive canisters. Gas masks won't interrupt as many actions as they did previously, making it easier to pull off your mask off or on. So everyone has had a problem where, you're lining up someone that's also running in from the gas. You go to shoot, and you're mid shooting, and then you decide to either put on or take off your gas mask, and then it goes to hip fire. You empty your mag, they turn around, and then they kill you. It's painfully frustrating. But it'll be interesting to see how they do it, whether it's a quicker animation. But yeah. Oh, yeah. So as well plating up or reloading a weapon while getting out of the circle collapse. But there is still always favoriting combat advantage those who safety inside the circle. Yeah, so obviously, yeah, you don't want to be overpowered in the gas. Gas masks may offer modicum and protection against explosive canisters and brand new items developed by High Moon Studios. If this canisters explode, they release a small cloud of non-toxic smoke in the atmosphere. After picking one up in Caldera, try lighting the fuse with throwing the canister or clipping it onto the ascender. Oh, and it's a nice gift to someone who outstayed their welcome on higher ground. So they're pretty much saying campers. Alternatively, since it requires both hands to carry, interesting. Simply shooting someone carrying it or dropping one you're carrying, stepping out of the blast radius and firing at it could make it effective during a few moments of active firefight. Okay, very interesting. This is gonna be interesting. I like that. I like that you can put it up on the zip line and send it to them. That's yeah. We'll see. Shallow water. While operators aren't getting their sea legs in Caldera, no swimming. They now be able to wade through shallow water and seem like areas in the lagoon. Walking within water makes it harder to see footsteps. Even those who are operators with the tracker perk equipped crouch in high near water and you gain the effects of cold-blooded. But you cannot go prone. Interesting. So we're going to have a lot more Billies and Timmies crouching in the water right on the bank. Interesting. Speaking of science, fire-based equipment now causes smoke when it hits water, adding a new layer of tactics when traversing through open, shallow pools. Wow, okay. Contracts and public events. During a match, squads can find new contracts to complete, such as supply drop contract, which airlifts a valuable crate onto the map for anyone to pick up, but only has its exact location revealed by the contracted squad. Interesting. So the way I read that, you might not be the one, in the contract, but you can still see that valuable crate dropping down. So you know that the other team's pushing for it. Very interesting. Another is a big game bounty, which targets the operator with the highest kill count, but only once per game, known as top secret contract. As well as one can spec redacted until you picked it up. It becomes greater rewards compared to the standard loot from the contract types it chooses from. Okay. As for the public events, expect restocks and resurgences from Rebirth Island to come into Caldera, in addition to the cash drops event you may see in an Operation Flashback. So, cash drops, I just think of plunder when I think of that, but it could come in clutch. There are also rumors of redacted weapon crates that can appear around the island, which contain coveted redacted weapon blueprints seen in Verdansk, and armaments extracted from the meta-forward galaxy brains of the studio's gunsmith gurus. So pretty much, if you're not familiar, you'd find a loot. It would make the same thing as like a legendary bit of loot. You pick it up and go, and it's pretty much a meta blueprint. It's pretty much one above the gold tier loot. So it is very good. But yeah, just very good. Very rare respawn rate. But yeah, I'm for that. The odd melting machine. Just don't put too many in. Be sure to check in closely with the Season 1 Raven software beta. So the more updates to come, as well as the Beanox, anything related to PC-related changes. We have the Ricochet anti-cheat. And this is all Secrets of the Pacific, blah, blah, blah. More Season 1 intel inbound. Interesting. So there we have it, guys. That was just a really rough brief over it. What are your thoughts? Ideally, I'm all for it. It's going to play different. That's the only thing, whether it's good or people don't like it. I'm sure there'll be both, but I'm all for it. I'm for the change. I'm glad they're listening to the community, because everyone was whinging about dead silence, the Carly sticks, stopping power rounds. And I think not having that first loadout for free is going to increase the skill gap. So I think it's great. Puts a little bit more strain if you're coming back from the Gulag. I noticed that in our trials, if you're coming back from the Gulag solos or, squad with your squad, you are at a huge disadvantage. You do have your floor loot, that you won the Gulag with, but you are seriously behind. So that's where the POIs on the map are going to be even more crucial. So very interesting. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, if you did gain some knowledge today, if you weren't up to date with this update, please smash that like button. If you didn't find this helpful at all, smash that dislike. And until the next one, happy gaming.